Welcome to Chris's Storytelling Corner. This is Christopher Morlong of Chris's Storytelling Corner. Today, I'm going to do a movie review for Batman and Harley Quinn. Next time, I'll have a list of the top magic users in anime and manga, and have a manga review for Kobato Volumes 5 and 6. In a few weeks, I'll have a movie review for Kingsman: The Golden Circle. You can check out my author's website at www.chrismorlon.com. You can buy my first novel, a fantasy adventure called The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom, for $4.99. Also, for $2.99, you can buy my short story collection, a collection of 10 short stories in the horror, fantasy, and realistic fiction genres. Check out my Twitter page and author's Facebook page. Links to all these will be provided on the description. Also, I'd really like to hear from you guys, so leave any comments that you can. If there are any movies or any movies you want me to review that I can, please leave a comment about it. Make sure to subscribe and share this channel as well. So the way that this is going to work is I am going to give a recap of the movie, Batman and Harley Quinn, and then I'll give my thoughts on the movie as well. Be warned, there will have spoilers, as of course I am recapping the entire movie. So let's get right to it with the recap of Batman and Harley Quinn. So Batman and Nightwing discover that Poison Ivy and Floronic Man have teamed up, you know, much to their reluctance. They decide to look for Harley Quinn, who's Poison Ivy's best friend, to find out where Floronic Man, who's Woodrue actually, and Poison Ivy are hiding. However, Harley Quinn has completely fallen off the grid ever since she got paroled. Batman leaves to get information from Argus as Nightwing looks for Harley Quinn. At Argus HQ, Batman learns that Poison Ivy and Woodrue stole the information on Swamp Thing's birth and kidnapped the scientists who could help them replicate the process and turn everyone into plant people. Nightwing actually finds Harley waitressing at an establishment, and it is a very seedy establishment as well. He tells her, she knows that he's there though, and they talk, and she gets angered since she wants to live a normal life, but her past as a super criminal keeps her from getting hired as a psychologist or to get any type of real job. They fight, then Harley pretty much ties Nightwing to her bed, and after some shenanigans, they presumably have sex with each other. You don't actually see them doing it, but it can be strongly assumed that that's what they do. Batman then tracks them down, and they persuade Harley to pretty much help them out. One of the first things that they do is they go to a dive bar where a bunch of henchmen that you've probably seen from like the Batman animated series and whatnot hang out. They go there to get some information. Also, they go there to perform a musical number as well that Harley pretty much sings. Harley then leads them to Slaughter Swamp in Bloodhaven, and she runs into Ivy, who is pretty much saddened to see her friend helping the Batman. Woodrue and Ivy fight against Nightwing, Batman, and Harley Quinn, and then Woodrue fatally stabs the scientist to pretty much keep him quiet, and Woodrue and Poison Ivy escape. However, the dying scientist reveals that the two are headed to Louisiana, where the correct swamp chemicals are for the concoction that they're making to turn everyone into plant life. So they contact Argus, Batman, Nightwing, and Harley head to Louisiana to try and stop Ivy and Woodrue. Harley fights against Poison Ivy, while the other two fight against Woodrue. Harley resorts to going nuclear, which is pretty much crying in a very puppy dog type way, in a sense, to convince Poison Ivy to stop what she's doing. And she does sway her from pretty much not going with this plan. Um, so then they fight Woodrue, who then gets the concoction and is about to pretty much dump it, or I think he just dumps it in the swamp. I don't really know how to. They don't actually explain what they have to do with the concoction. If he just has to dump it somewhere or dump it in the swamp. However, Woodrue does have the concoction and is about to utilize it. Swamp Thing then appears, and he informs Woodrue that he would threaten the Green with his concoction. However, he will not interfere. So Batman and Nightwing are just left wondering how to stop Woodrue, and then Harley just points out that he's a plant and asks if they have a match. So they both give Harley a kiss and set Woodrue on fire. So, the post-credits, Harley has gone back to being Dr. Quinzel. However, she now has a reality game show where she's a, psychologist slash in this game show thing, where she pretty much makes her patients face their fears. So, some thoughts on Harley, or Batman and Harley Quinn. This pays some homage to Batman the Animated Series, as the main voice actors for Batman and Nightwing are the same voice actors from back then. It's really nice to actually hear them. And the way that this kind of starts out as like a detective thing. Oh, let's find these guys. Let's ask questions, do some detective work, follow guys into alleys and whatnot, and just do the detective work to get to where they need to go. Once Harley Quinn gets into the picture, it becomes something more of like the Harley Quinn show. So where like Batman and Nightwing are pretty much her two heavies, and she's pretty much becomes like the main character. There's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of sexual comedy as well, and a lot of like sexual innuendo. There's a fart joke in there in the Batmobile and whatnot. Um, One thing I do like about the DC animated universe, I've seen a couple DC animated universe titles, is that they seem to understand their characters a lot better and understand the world that they reside in. So they know that Batman is ultra serious, and so you can kind of play off of Harley Quinn's, chaotic nature with Batman's more focused, serious nature, and produce comedy that way. Nightwing is kind of like, Batman's like the surrogate father to Nightwing in a sense, and after like Batman finds out that like Nightwing and Harley Quinn were involved in questionable actions in the bedroom. Nightwing just looks like that kid who was caught with his hand stuck in the cookie jar, even though he had it, and he pretty much did, the cookie jar being Harley Quinn in this case, pretty much. Um, it's kind of Marvel-esque in a sense, if you think about it, in the sense that they do know the world that they reside in, and just the absurdity of the world that they reside in a sense. I kind of go with how I relate that to like how they end things. They end things kind of on a joke, which I'm not too fond of. Kind of wish that they went with a more serious route, but it's kind of like the idea of like, oh hey, he's a plant. He's all leafy. You know, we can just set him on fire with a match. You know, it's like, oh wow, how absurd. You know, yet this is the world that they live in. I say that with like Marvel because they do it all the time, where it's just kind of like, hey, Ant-Man, I'm really small. If I hit you with a ping pong paddle, you will go flying into um, a bug zapper, you know, or that's probably not the best example, but it's another example is like Hawkeye and like Avengers: Age of Ultron. There's a bunch of robots out there. I got a bow and arrow. I don't get it. And it's just kind of like that absurdity of like this guy's a plant. He's all leafy. We can set him on fire. You know. I don't actually understand what they were going with Swamp Thing. Was it just like a cool cameo? He kind of comes out all majestic and whatnot, and then it's just kind of like I guess I don't know if they're trying to make fun of a Deus Ex Machina trope or something like that because obviously Swamp Thing's stronger than everyone else there, and it's like oh it'd be too easy I guess I don't know to get Swamp Thing to like kind of resolve this issue. You kind of just have a Deus Ex Machina thing, a godlike creature to solve the problem. The only problem is they solve the problem by lighting the villain on fire with a match. I mean, so like, I don't know if they were just going for the absurd, especially once Harley Quinn entered the picture. Things became a little more chaotic, and it just became kind of the Harley Quinn show in a sense. I don't know if that's where they're going. Um, but then you had like Poison Ivy. She's a good villain. She kind of played her role well. She's more of a serious character, um, and very much the opposite of someone that's like a loose cannon, like Harley Quinn. Um, Poison Ivy's more serious, more focused, has a more singular goal. Harley Quinn generally doesn't have an agenda per se. She just kind of like goes with it, I mean, that kind of was the whole thing with this whole movie in itself. It's like, oh, there's Harley Quinn. Hey, she's got Nightwing in bed. Let's just go with it. Oh, hey, there's a dive bar full of henchmen and an open mic. Oh, let's just go with it. Musical number? Let's just go with it. You know, the silliness of how to stop Poison Ivy. Let's go with it. I guess that's kind of like it seemed kind of like the theme of the whole thing. At the very end, even the post credits kind of show that too. Hey, it's Harley Quinn as Dr. Quinzel. She has a game show. Let's just go with patients facing their fears. You know what I mean? Um, so overall, though, I don't know if people are gonna like this too much per se. If you're looking for something serious, the their the DC animated universe has better offerings than this as far as a more serious story. This does not have any type of real ramifications to the greater DC universe or animated universe at least. Um, it really is just something of a standalone story. Nothing really. The way Batman and Nightwing came in, more or less, is the way Batman and Nightwing come out. At the very end. Nothing really changes with the characters per se. I did feel that the movie was just overall entertaining. It was a fun movie, you know. There were some jokes that worked. Like I said, there was a lot of sexual innuendo and a lot of, like, I guess, adult non PG comedy or rated G comedy uh, that worked and didn't work. You know, they had a fart joke in there that I don't know if it's gonna really come through that well with a lot of the people that are gonna view this. You know, it was a bit juvenile. I hate to kind of just bash this because it was an overall fun experience. You know, it's like 65 minutes. It doesn't feel that long. The action sequences are pretty cool. Um, you know, if you like the characters, they're pretty much doing for the most part, what the characters are expected to do. Um, if you're looking for something more Batman the Animated Series, I think they've tried to pay homage to it and kind of make this into like a Batman the Animated Series it almost feels like a Lost episode, but it, you know, obviously the tone of it was not like um, the old cartoons, which were fantastic, by the way. This one was a lot less serious and just more comical. Overall, you know, despite my gripes, I thought it was fun. You know, overall, I was entertained. You know, it's the minute, you know, the time just kind of flies by. If you're just looking to kind of turn your brain off, you know, and just have a good time, it's not the worst thing to watch. It was fun. If you want something more serious, um, this probably isn't one of the better offerings as far as that's concerned. I do feel that despite everything, I think that if you compare it to like the big motion pictures that DC offers, I think that in general, I feel that the DC animated universe understands their characters a little more, whereas they're still trying to understand the characters in the bigger DC extended universe. Um, Save for Wonder Woman, I thought they hit Wonder Woman pretty well. But overall, you know, it was fun. I thought it was good. Not great, not excellent, not a masterpiece. Um, Solid. You know, I didn't hate it. I know I read some reviews that didn't like it. I read some reviews that liked it quite a bit. Some of the comments, you know, were pretty much the same. It was kind of split, you know, split in the middle. So that's all for today. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment to this channel. Thank you for listening to this movie review. Next time, I will have a list for the top magic users in anime and manga, and have a manga review for Kabato Volumes 5 and 6. In a few weeks, I'll have a movie review for Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Thank you, and until next time.